250, which is absolutely insane. Cost in general more than it does in northern Italy. I was really surprised to find it out. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I've decided to share more about life in the south of Italy and in the beautiful region of Puglia in particular. Puglia is an absolute paradise to visit, however I want to dive deeper into what to expect if you actually want to move there. And before we begin guys, I remind you to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss anything, because this month I'm posting my travel vlogs from Puglia, so I hope that you love them, that you will check them out and hopefully get inspired to visit this amazing region for yourself. So now, having said that guys, without further ado, let's jump into the video. And I want to start from rent, because this is something that you will eventually run into. This is something that you cannot avoid when moving abroad and, you know, when moving to Italy in particular. However, it obviously depends on whether you want to live in a big city or in a smaller place. But just for your information, for a 2-bedroom apartment in a city like Bari, a big city in Puglia, you will have to pay something around 800 euros to 1000 euros per month. While in the north of Italy, in a city like Bologna, for example, this will most likely be the price for just a studio or maybe a 1-bedroom apartment, as apartments tend to cost more here, while in Puglia you will pay something like that. And obviously, if you are just visiting and staying, you know, mid-term there, like the whole summer, the prices will be different as you're renting an Airbnb. But I'm talking about long-term rents in Bari, in a big city, not maybe, you know, just super touristy spot. And yeah, you have to expect to pay something around that. Once you get to rent the apartment, guys, you will have to read the entire contract, and most likely it will be in Italian, obviously. And then once you've rented it, you will have to deal with utilities, bills, and many things, and you will need some Italian, at least basic Italian. So I highly recommend to include language learning into your moving budget. Trust me, this is essential in any country, and in Italy especially, and even more so in the south of Italy. In the south of Italy, in Puglia region, there are some language schools that I could recommend, but honestly, the choice is a little bit smaller than in the northern Italy. You will find more schools in Bologna or Florence, for example. However, there are some schools in Puglia, and expect to pay something around 300 euros for a full week of intensive classes, and then obviously you will need couple of months at least to be able to communicate with people and to deal with bureaucracy and stuff. Also guys, consider that going to the language school alone will not be enough to become fluent in Italian. You will need extra activities and practice, and yeah, you will need to, you know, immerse yourself in the language all the time. And if you're learning the language at the moment, tell me in the comment what is your best way, what is your preferred way to practice. I'm really curious, guys. And I have great news for you guys, because if you're looking for a fun and easy way to improve your Italian or to practice numerous languages, Italian included, my partners at LingoPie have you covered. LingoPie is a subscription-based video-on-demand platform offering its users original content in your targeted language. Not only can you immerse yourself in the language and the culture you're interested in, but you can also use their interactive subtitles and mashups with your native language, as well as see the on-screen transcriptions and choose your playback speed. You can practice your pronunciation by clicking on the microphone, learn new words through flashcards, and solve fun quizzes that will help you in your language learning journey with a little effort and a lot of fun. I'm loving LingoPie. It's such a cool way to practice your accent or learn a new dialect, and in Italy there are so many of them. It will definitely be a handy tool if you want to learn the specific dialects of each region. New TV shows and movies are added to the LingoPie catalog every week, and they offer you a 7-day free trial. So guys, I highly recommend you to check them out if you're learning a new language, as it will be a great addition to your learning activities. So don't waste any more time, click the link in my description box to get a special discount and subscribe to save your time while learning Italian. Getting back to the cost of living in Puglia, and speaking of the utilities, it actually ranks among the cheapest in the southern Italy, among the southern regions. However, it obviously depends on, you know, how many people are living with you and how much electricity or heating you need, or how big your apartment or house is. However, the average yearly price that people spend on utilities in Puglia ranges from 1,200 euros approximately to 2,500 euros. However, as I said, these are approximate prices and you can expect something from 2 and even go beyond if you use a lot of electricity or heating or you live in a huge house. However, when it comes to groceries, I was pretty surprised to find out that food in the supermarkets in Puglia cost in general more than it does in northern Italy. I was really surprised to find it out, but when I was comparing prices to supermarkets in Bologna, for example, I found out that somehow almost every single food item was a bit more expensive. Different wasn't sky high, obviously, but you know, in general, when you buy more or less the same things you buy at home, I ended up somehow paying a bit more. Another thing I've noticed about Puglia is actually that small towns have fewer supermarkets compared to small towns in northern Italy, and the supermarkets are smaller themselves and the choice is not as vast. So I mean, it's not such an issue, you know, but just something I didn't expect. And if you compare it to even small towns in northern Italy, you will likely find more, you know, big supermarkets with large choice of products. And this might also be the reason why the prices are a bit lower in the northern Italy. Well, I don't know. Obviously, if you live in a bigger city in Puglia, it will not be an issue because there will be more supermarkets, big supermarkets. But if you're staying in smaller, maybe touristy places, you can expect this, which is something I didn't expect at all. And obviously, if you live there, you have more time to go to the market or find all the local shops, and it will be an awesome option because you will also support local businesses while being more sustainable in your grocery shopping. I didn't have this option, sadly, because I stayed for a very limited time, but I would love to actually. However, yeah, just something to keep in mind if you're moving to Puglia. By the way, guys, if you want to learn even more about life in Italy, including all things rent, utilities, bills, healthcare, groceries, and much more, don't forget that I have a Patreon page. I will leave you the link in the description box. Check it out for all the useful info. And if you like my content and if you find it helpful, if it helps you planning your trips or moving to Italy, don't forget that you can support our channel either through hitting the thanks button down below or through our Ko-Fi page. I will leave you the link in the description box. And guys, your help is so appreciated. A huge thank you and shout out to everyone who's already supporting us either through Patreon or donations, because guys, you're helping us to create even more videos for you. And yes, your help is crucial. Thank you so much. Now, speaking of eating out, restaurants were surprisingly also quite expensive, although I blame the touristy spots that we were visiting, and you know, this is just something normal. Obviously, guys, if you move there or if you move anywhere, you will find the places where locals go, and you will likely go to these places because, you know, they usually offer higher quality for lower prices, and sometimes you will actually need a car to get there because many of these places are located in the suburbs or even in the countryside. They're usually not located in the city center. And yes, you know, this is happening anywhere. I think this is true for northern Italy as well, and this is true for southern Italy. But just something to keep in mind, that if you're going to stay in more touristy places like Monopoli or Stuni, for example, be prepared to pay, you know, more or less the same thing you're gonna pay in the northern Italy. An average pizza margherita will most likely cost you around 9 euros in these areas, and the plate of pasta will start at around 13 euros per person. And then if you want to have aperitivo, you know, something to drink with a charcuterie board, you can expect to pay around 15 euros for 2 people though. And then just sitting down for drinks and having a glass of wine, you will pay 5-6 euros for a glass. And if you want an Aperol Spritz or a cocktail, expect to pay up to 10, even 12 euros, depending on the place, while a street food panino or similar thing will be around 7-8 euros. Now guys, I think this is something that people in touristy areas have to deal with all the time, and people living in these areas even more so. And before you say that prices in Bologna and Milan are very high and might be actually higher than in Puglia, yes, I totally agree with you. But you know what is the thing here? There is always an alternative, and it might be easier to find this alternative in cities like Milan, for example. then I found it in Puglia. So this is just something to keep in mind. There are places where you can save money in bigger cities, and I talk about these places all the time, guys, so watch my videos. I will leave you a link to my budget travel playlist where I talk about how to spend a day on more or less 20 euro in very expensive cities like Florence or Milan, for example, and I share these tips with you. And also, once again, I remind you about my Patreon, where I often share tips like this as well. Next up, guys, I'm talking about coffee, and coffee culture is huge in all of Italy, and Puglia is obviously no different. All of southern Italy is obviously no different, and good news, coffee actually costs less in the southern Italy than it does in the north. An average price for a cup of cappuccino will be around €1.40, and a regular espresso will most likely cost you even less. And also there is this amazing thing in Puglia where they usually bring you lots of water with your coffee. For example, they can bring you an entire bottle of water that will be absolutely free of charge that you can drink with your coffee, while in the north you will most likely get just a tiny glass of water, if you even gonna get it, because in Milan, like, okay, guys, let's just all agree, if you've been to Italy, you probably know that in Milan you will most likely not get any water with your coffee. That's a fact. While in Puglia you will get an entire bottle. That's lovely. I find it absolutely hilarious. And speaking more of coffee shops and pastries, obviously, be prepared to pay around €1.50 for an average croissant, and the famous local pasticciotto that is absolutely heavenly will cost you around 3-4 euros. All of it makes for a perfect breakfast, and in fact many Italians opt to have breakfast in coffee shops or simply bars, as they call them here. Last but not least, guys, I want to mention public transport. Now a single ride bus ticket in Bari will cost you just €1, and you can also buy a ticket that will be valid for 90 minutes for €1.20. Now attention, a day ticket for a bus in Bari will cost you only €2.50, which is absolutely insane. Obviously, public transportation costs much less in the southern Italy than it does in the north. However, when it comes to gas prices, I would say that they're more or less the same in Puglia, with an average petrol or diesel costing you €1.63, €1.65 for a liter. And that's it for today, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that it was helpful for you, especially if you're planning your move to Puglia, and obviously consider that these prices may vary greatly, as I've said a million times already, because they depend on your preferences, your habits, how much you're willing to spend, and where exactly you want to move to. But this is just a general idea for you, maybe not of the entire south of Italy, but Puglia in particular. I will obviously cover other regions in the future as well. And once again, guys, I remind you to subscribe so you don't miss anything when we go to other regions, when we travel even more, show you more travel vlogs and more videos like this one as well, with useful tips and useful information for you. So subscribe and hit the bell button down below. And also, guys, don't forget to follow me on Instagram. Stay tuned and up to date with everything, wherever we are going and what are our plans at the moment. And having said that, don't forget to like, comment and share this video with your friends. Thank you so much, guys, for being here, and please enjoy your day.